adlaw sa tanan, especially sa akong mga estudyante din ha. So this is our third tutorial as promised. So I hope nga naamo sa kapasay sa inyong panglawas sa tagsatag sa ninyo kapanimalay. So para ni sa mga lisod o answer sa atong final examination o katong nakasubmit, congrats. And katong wala pa kasubmit, sana dili mo matalang sa mga links o makantigura mo sa atong mga bagong pamaagi karong new normal na ta. Okay? So, dili na to dugayon atong sugdan. Let me pull out my slide here. I hope once again nga maayo rin mo sa inyong mga panlawas dinha o maayo piskay ang panglawas, panghuna-huna, mentally, physically, spiritually present and maayo. So let me share my slide for this video tutorial today. So advanced level na ni siya as promised. So advanced decision making problem set. Review set decision rule in non-routine business activities. So sige, mag-review na ta. So magsugod ta sa decision rules in non-routine activities. So natay upat ka non-routine activities when we talk about decision making. Ang una is accept or reject. So i-determine na to either to accept or reject a special order. So ang checklist ani is if special price offered is greater than total incremental or relevant cost, we have to arrive at the accept decision. Or however, if special price is less than the total incremental or relevant cost of accepting the special order, so we have to come up with the reject decision. Ang second nga activity sa non-routine activity is drop or maintain. So gitawag ni siya non-routine due to the reason that dili ni siya recurring activity. So dili ni siya ingon nga party sa normal operating day-to-day business activities. So kung maghisgot tag drop or maintain, for instance, to resolve whether to drop or maintain a segment. So a segment could be a product line, a branch, or a department. So if the loss or revenue of dropping a certain segment is greater than the avoidable cost or kaning ma-eliminate nga cost, then go with the maintain decision. Kay ang nawala nga revenue or contribution margin is mas dako kaysa sa eliminated cost because of the drop. Or else, if the lost revenue is smaller than, mas gamay siya kaysa sa avoidable cost, mas dako di ay ang cost nga ma-eliminate because of the drop, then we have to arrive at the drop decision. So ang third nga non-routine activity is sell or process further, wherein the manager or the business owner determine whether to sell or process further a certain product or service. Ang checklist ani is if incremental revenue of selling it now is mas dako kaysa incremental cost, then the decision should be sell. Or else, if incremental revenue to process further is greater than or higher than the incremental cost of processing it further, resulting in a net advantage therefore, so we go with the process further decision. And the last one, na wala na to nahisguti sa last tutorial, is the shutdown or remain operation activity. The business owner determines whether to shut down totally a certain business or to remain in operation. So, checklist ani for decision making is if loss of revenue because of shutdown, i-calculate ng if ang lugi because of shutdown is smaller than the cost savings because of the shutdown, na yung mga cost nga dili na mahimo siyang cost kay wala na may operation, mas dako ang cost savings niya, then therefore the business manager or owner should go with the shutdown decision kay much more advantageous. And however, if the lost revenue because of the shutdown is greater than the cost savings, then go with the remain decision or remain operation decision, because mas advantageous ang keep on operating because ang cost savings because of the shutdown is smaller than sa nawala nga revenue or sales because of the shutdown. So however, talk mo to decision making, sometimes it's subjective. So whether to accept or reject, maintain or drop, sell or process, shut down or remain operation, it depends on the perception or on the instinct of the manager or the business owner. If what is our concern here in managerial accounting, if you go with a certain decision, you calculate how much, if the decision is advantageous, then we calculate how much is the advantage. But if the decision is disadvantageous, how much are we expecting as a loss? So we go with the illustration. Okay, to illustrate the advanced problem solving, here are a series of situations below. So this first situation is a routine decision. So when we say routine, once again, sige balik-balik. So this is a normal operating procedure or normal operation of the business, wherein the business manager or owner will check the cost of each product produced or manufactured in order to set the selling price to be provided to the market. So example, Manila company uses activity-based costing to determine product cost for external financial reports. At the beginning of the year, management made the following budget: estimate cost and activity for the 5 activity cost pools. So naay 5 ka identified activity cost pools si Manila company. Na po siya measures for each activity, and na siya capital budget for each activity, and then the expected activity level to hit the target, that is the targeted budget that is set. So sa activity cost pool na siya 5, we have labor related nga gi-measure niya is labor hours, and then purchase order, number of orders, product testing, number of tests, template etching, number of templates, general factory, machine hours. So ang budgeted cost or capital sa each of the 5 activities, 50,000 for labor related, 30,000 pesos for purchase order, and 100,000 pesos for product testing, and 240,000 pesos for template etching, and 400,000 pesos for general factory. So ang expected targeted activity ani to hit the budget is sa labor hours, 10,000 labor hours to comply with the 50,000 budget cost, and 1,000 number of orders to comply with the 30,000 pesos budgeted cost. 4,000 tests, product testing should be performed to hit the 100,000 pesos budgeted cost, and 2,400 templates to hit the 240,000 number pesos budgeted cost. Lastly is 50,000 machine hours in order to hit the 400 pesos budgeted cost. So the actual activity, Manila company have 3 types of products: A, B, and C, D. 4 types of product: A, B, C, and D. So sa actual activity, these products from A to D have consumed actual labor hours, order, test, templates, and machine hours. So these are the actual data that is consumed by each product. So go with the requirement. So the requirement for this first situation is compute for the activity rate for each of the activity cost pool. How much is each activity cost pool? So naaman tayo 5 activity, then we have to compute tagpila man or how much is each predetermined cost of each activity. And then we have number 2, based on the estimated budget per activity and the actual activity consumption of each product A to product D, how much is the cost per each product. So sa first requirement, we have to compute the predetermined rate for each activity, and for the second requirement, we have to identify the product costing of or the cost of each product. So product A and product B should be calculated on how much per unit each product based on the activity-based costing method. So here is the first step. Determine the predetermined rate for each of the cost pools. So this is to answer requirement number 1. So we have the computation here. So we have the activity cost pools on the right side. So labor related, purchase order, product testing, template aging, and general factory. So the computation is basically, the formula is to have the budgeted cost or capital divided by the target level of each activity will be equal to the predetermined rate per each activity. Example, labor related is having a budget cost of 50,000 pesos and having a target level of 10,000 labor hours. So therefore, the predetermined rate or rate per activity is 5 pesos per labor hour. So we have purchase order 30,000 pesos divide targeted level of activity, which is 1,000 orders. We come up with 30 pesos per order. So the same we'll be doing with product testing, template aging, and general factory, which is 25 pesos per test, 100 pesos per templates, and 8 pesos per machine hours. So the second requirement is solved by applying the different predetermined rate or rate of the actual level of product. So product A and product B and product C and D have different levels of consumption. So for instance, product A have 2,000 labor hours and 200 number of orders, but 0 testing. So there's no product testing conducted in A, and 490 templates used and 12,000 machine hours consumed. So different in product B. Product B have consumed 5,000 hours, labor hours, 130 number of orders, 2,900 product testing, and utilizes 400 templates and 6,000 machine hours consumed. So the same with C and D, they have differing actual level of activity. So what we'll do is we multiply the rate per activity times the actual consumption for each product. We arrive at the cost that is being consumed by certain product. So we sum it up and we come up with the total cost allocation for each product. We know that for the 5 activity levels, product A have consumed a cost of 161,000 pesos. Product B consumed a cost of 189,400 pesos, and product C have 254,500 pesos, and product D consumed 166,800 pesos. So therefore in this one, all you need to do is to divide each of this allocation or this cost into the number of products that is manufactured in product A, or if how many product A, we divide this cost with the number of units and we arrive at the unit cost per products. So we have, if there are 1,000 product A, the unit cost therefore is 161,000 divided 1,000 units. We arrive at 161 pesos per unit item of A. Okay, so we go with the second situation. This time, this is a non-routine decision making situation. So accept, reject decision. So here, our situation is in Pampanga. Pampanga Corporation manufactures 2 pizza, Hawaiian and Italian. Direct materials is the only variable manufacturing cost because the production process is fully automated. The only variable selling cost is 5% commission on the selling price. All other manufacturing, selling, and general administrative costs are fixed, and the production capacity is limited to 235,000 machine hours. So budgeted information for the year is as follows. Hawaiian and Italian are flavored pizza. So who likes to really eat pizza? I do. Okay, so we proceed. Budgeted sales per unit. So this is the number of units for Hawaiian and Italian. So we have for production 100,000 units of Hawaiian will be produced and 90,000 units of Italian pizza will be produced. So our regular selling price, we have 300 pesos per unit for Hawaiian and 400 pesos for Italian per unit. So direct materials consumed, we have each unit of Hawaiian consumes 100 pesos of direct material, and Italian consumes 160 pesos of per unit of direct materials. Machine hours in making one unit, a single unit of pizza, and in Hawaiian flavor, it requires 1 hour to make. And then the Italian is requiring 1.40 hours or 1 hour and 40 minutes to make one unit of Italian pizza. So manufacturing costs. Manufacturing costs other than direct materials budgeted for the year are 1,590,000 and are allocated to Hawaiian and Italian based on units. So selling general administrative costs other than commission budgeted for the year is 3,895,000 and are allocated to Hawaiian and Italian based on sales revenue. So the requirement for situation number 2, accept or reject. Buyer Limited has approached Pampanga Corporation, would like to purchase 10,000 customized units of Hawaiian for 240 pesos each. So this is the offered price. Because of capacity concern, possible opportunity cost, and a one-time setup cost of 100,000 pesos. So because this is a special customized order, there is a one-time setup cost of 100,000 pesos. This is an incremental cost in accepting the order. The manager of sales is willing to cut the commission from a regular 5% to 3% on this special order. So given these facts, if you're the owner of Pampanga Corporation, will you accept or reject the special order? So the second requirement is how much is the advantage or disadvantage to your income if you accept the special order of 10,000 units. So that's the requirement. Let's go with solutions. Okay. So how do we solve? So step number 1, process all the given relevant data. So we have the relevant data are we have flavored pizzas, the budgeted sales and quantity. So we have the sales, and we know that each pizza will require certain hours. It has Pampanga company have total number of machine hours. This is the capacity or the limitation of Pampanga company. They only have 226 machine hours. So if their normal operation is they produce 100,000 units of Hawaiian times 1 hour per unit, will Hawaiian 100,000 units will require 100,000 hours, and the 90,000 units of Italian will require 126,000 hours, because 1 unit of Italian will be having 1.1 hour and 40 minutes to produce. So 90 units is the scheduled normal production for Pampanga. So 90 units of Italian times 1.4 hours will give us 126 hours. So at the equivalent, if we will be totaling this one, we will have 226,000 machine hours. So this is the actual normal operation. So however, the capacity or the limitation of Pampanga is not 226 but 235. So this is the level of machine hours. Their limits is 235. They are having an idle capacity, or ang kapasidad nila nga wala nila nagamit is an equivalent of 9,000 hours. difference na siya sa ilahang kapasidad, which is 235 hours, but their actual operation they utilizes only 226 hours. Napay nabilin nga 9,000 hours. So this one is very good news because the special order can be take care of this remaining idle hours. So flavored pizza, we go with here. In this section here, we compute for the regular sales of the normal operation. So if we know that it's 300 pesos per unit ang Hawaiian, then we expected a sale from Hawaiian at regular price 300 per unit, 30 million pesos. And then if Italian is at 450 pesos per unit and we manufacture 90,000 units, then we come up with an expected sale of 40,500,000. So with a total of 70,500,000. So and then here we calculate what if we accept the special order. So ang quantity sa special order is at 10,000 units, and then ang price niya, special price offer, is 240 per unit. So we have Hawaiian sales at special order price of 2,400,000 pesos if we will be accepting the 10,000 special order. So step number 2, compare the special price to the incremental cost per unit special order. So mauni nga atong decision rule, decision rule na to. Checklist is if the special price is greater than the incremental cost in offering the special order, then go with the accept decision. So here, our special price offered is 240 per unit. Here we will be comparing it to the incremental total unit cost per item. If this is the incremental cost, if we will be accepting the special order. So asa ni siya gikan ni 115. So we know that si Hawaiian maura man ni siya may special order sa mo consume siya 100 pesos per direct material. Then ang commission is si special order na siya 3% of the special price. So 3% of 240 is 7 pesos and 20 centavos. And then mao ni siya per unit nga commission, and then sales commission. And then we have manufacturing costs which allocated by the number of units. So saan na siya po-compute? So ang 100,000 nga pizza divided by nga total pizzas, kay per unit man ang basihan sa prorata. So ato ang kwaon ang decimal or fraction or ratio sa Hawaiian. So si Hawaiian 100,000 divide by the total nga pizza nga gi-produce, which is 190,000, gikan na siya sa addition sa 100,000 ni Hawaiian ug 90,000 units ni Italian. Then we come up with a total summation of 190. So 100,000 units ni Hawaiian divide total of 190 units, we come up with 0.5263 or 52.63%. So mao na siya may ato ang i-divide sa manufactured cost nga gi-identify sa problem or sa situation nga 1,836,817. So we divide it with 100 units pod sa Hawaiian. So ni come up na siya per unit of 8.8 pesos and 37 centavos. So we add them. So we come up with ang incremental cost of selling the special order or accepting the special order is 115 pesos and 57 cents. So naatay advantage nga net 124 pesos and 43 cents per unit sa special order because the special price is greater than the incremental cost of accepting the order. So we know nga ang atong capacity is limited only in machine hours. Ang atong bilin nga capacity is 9,000 hours. So kanang 9,000 hours, i-divide na siya 1 hour, may mo siyang 9,000 units lang sa Hawaiian ang mahimo, dili 10,000. So therefore we multiply in order to get the net advantage or profit on the accept decision, we need to multiply the net advantage times the number of units ordered, or we come up with 1,119,869. However, nagka-mention dito sa situation nga na ay one-time cost because of the setup nga 100,000 pesos. So therefore, kana nga cost or expense is an incremental cost, atong i-minus na siya sa net advantage. We come up with a clean 1,019,869 pesos as the net advantage if the decision. Okay, so it's up to you to conclude on what to summarize, how to summarize those answers, and how to construct your sentence and in a convincing way in order to justify your answer, whether to accept or reject the situation or the special order, I mean. So we go with the third one, which is, sorry for that, the drop or maintain. So drop or maintain. Sophisticate corner sells clothing, shoes, and accessories at the suburban location near Boston. Information for the just concluded calendar year are as follows. So, naitulo ka product line si Boston. Sophisticate corner. So, we have clothing, shoes, and accessories. Ang data for sales ni clothing is 800,000 pesos. And shoes is 320 pesos. Accessories is 150 pesos. And so, may situation. Management is considering closing the shoe or kaninga shoes department operation because of the loss and to permit expanding the space that is currently devoted to accessory sales. So, ang ilang huna-huna is to close down the shoes to expand the space for accessories. The accessory department. So, a salaried person, salesperson in the shoe department who earns 45,000 will be terminated. So, muna siya eliminated na cost or gitawag nga to cost nga eliminated cost. Okay, go with that. Then with the term will be terminated. So avoidable cost, I mean. So here that's the term. So however, all other departmental fixed costs will continue to be incurred. That means to say kaninga fixed cost is 60,000, 70,000 will be staying, and ang variable cost na 270 will have a minus of a fixed cost will be 70 and avoidable is 45. So the remaining 25,000 will be will stay and will be there still, even if the shoe department will be eliminated or being dropped. Sophisticate's corner will spend 16,000 on remodeling costs and anticipate that accessory sales will increase by 70,000 pesos. This additional sales revenue is expected to generate a 35% contribution margin for the firm. Finally, because the clothing customer often purchase shoes and feel strongly about one-stop shopping, clothing sales are expected to fall 15% if the shoe department is closed. So, mauni siya mo'y kapakita og advanced level nga decision making because it's multivariate, meaning daghang variables or daghang factors nga i-consider before you go with the decision either to drop or maintain a product, because naay mga products nga dependent or we say complementing each other, that a drop of a certain segment may affect the sales, either increase or decrease of another product. So the requirement for this situation is to determine or calculate if the shoe department should or should not be closed. Sorry. So show the computation for the net advantage or disadvantage if it will be closed. Is if the loss of revenue and drop is greater than the avoidable cost or the cost will be eliminated, So mas dako ang lugi, then we have to maintain. If ang loss is smaller than the eliminated cost or the cost that can be avoided, so mas dako ang cost savings, then we go with the drop decision. So step number 1, determine if loss of revenue is greater or less than avoidable cost. So see, lost revenue is 320,000 pesos and less na to na ni variable cost of 270,000 pesos. Contribution margin is 50,000 pesos. So contribution margin in issue department. So avoidable cost, we know that ang eliminated cost is 45,000 pesos. So naatay positive na 5,000 pesos. So kung sa mga buot pasabot, this is decrease in profit if si issue department will be dropped or eliminated. So step number 2, compute for the net disadvantage or advantage or disadvantage if drop. So net effects of the drop of the shoe department. So ato ni siyang tan-awon kung sa epekto niya sa overall net profit or net loss in the business. So we have sales clothing. Sales sa clothing will be dropped by 15%, so 15% less. So ang sales sa clothing is 850,000 pesos. Mahimong na siyang 85%. Why? Kaya na may 15% hindi minus. So 100% minus 15% is 85% na lang. So that will be 722,500 pesos. Tapos si sales in accessory, mutaas siya because mudako ang space allocated for accessory. So there is an expectation of 70,000 pesos more ang iyang sales. So we have ang iyang dating nga sales 150,000 pesos plus 70,000 predicted sales additional will be equal to 220,000 pesos. So i-less na nato ng sales or revenue sa mga costs. So, we start with the variable cost. So 15% less drop on ang sales clothing. So we have 433,500, which is the same ang computation. So we have the old variable cost ni clothing ang 510,000 pesos times 85%, we arrive at 433,500. So i-deduct na siya sa sales because it's a cost. Variable cost for accessory, 65% of new sales asa mataan na. So we know nga gibutan dito sa situation nga ang contribution margin is at 35%. So kung 35% contribution na that means to say sa variable cost is 65% to make it 100%. So therefore ang iyahang nga sales is, bago nga sales is 220,000 pesos times 65% will give us 143,000 pesos nga variable cost sa accessories. So wala na tayo variable cost sa shoes because variable cost depends on the number of production or the number of products produced or services rendered. Pero wala naman si shoes, wala naman siya ka-operate, so wala na yung variable cost. Let's go with the fixed cost. So last na itong fixed cost ni clothing, fixed man siya, so wala siya yung movement. So 290,000 Japon. Fixed cost remaining in shoes. Ano na yung fixed cost remaining in shoes? We identified nga si shoe department, bahala na siya o nawala siya, 45,000 na eliminated ng cost or cost avoidable. So ang the rest ato stays. So bisag wala na nag-operate si shoes, naara Japon siya yung remaining fixed cost which is 25,000. The remaining 70,000 minus 45,000 is 25,000. Last na po nato si fixed cost ng accessory which is 42,000 pesos. And lastly, we less the cost for remodeling the space. So once we eliminate shoes, then or drop shoes, then we remodel it to make it fit for accessory department. So the remodeling space cost is 16,000 pesos. So we come up in a negative 7,000, which is the net loss or disadvantage if we will be able to close the shoes. So there's a disadvantage of worth 7,000 or a net loss of 7,000 if we're going to drop the shoes. Okay, so let's go back. it's up to you to answer this the same as possible. You have to justify your answer by showing the solutions and showing it with evidence perhaps, or with convincing statements on whether to drop or maintain shoe department. So we have the fourth item, which is the last one. The item nga wala na to no sa iskuti jud. So kani, pay attention and be awake, please. So we have a situation in Brunei Corporation. So Brunei Corporation manufactures and sells a single product line. So at normal capacity of 100,000 units per annum, so per year, the unit cost of the product is as follows. So DM, direct material, we have 4.4 pesos. So si Brunei Corporation manufactured its item in peso, in peso currency. So we can just we can just assume, or perhaps we can just justify that this corporation is operating for Philippine market. We have direct material, we have 5 pesos and 60 centavos, so per unit ni siya. Then we have variable manufacturing overhead, which is 2 pesos and 40 centavos, and we have factory fixed manufacturing overhead, we have 4 pesos. So a total production cost per unit of 16 pesos and 40 centavos. So what's the situation with Brunei? Variable selling administrative expenses amount to 1 pesos and 60 centavos per unit. Fixed selling and administrative costs are at 80,000 pesos annually. Due to the increasing competition, the company expects to be able to sell only 4,000 units per month. So at a reduced selling price of 20 pesos each for the next 3 months. The company is reorganizing its operation to be able to regain competitive position. In the meantime, management is faced with the problem of whether to shut down completely or continue limited operation at a loss during this 3-month period. In the event of a shutdown, it is expected that the fixed manufacturing cost will be reduced to 60%. Fixed selling administrative will be reduced to 10,000 pesos for the 3-month period. And lastly, additional costs of shutting down the manufacturing plant for 1 year are estimated at 10,000 pesos. So our requirement in a situation is what is the net advantage or disadvantage to the company if it decides to shut down. So it refers to calculation of how much it will be the advantage or disadvantage if the company will be going to the shutdown decision. And the second one is the second requirement is what is the company's shutdown point in 3 months period. So if ingunaan ang level ang only units nga ma-sales sa market, then what unit or number of unit will it be in order to decide na dapat shutdown na siya. So we go with the solution. So to solve this, we have to understand first the shutdown point using opportunity cost approach will be used para ma-solve ni siya nga situation sa Brunei. So kung yung term opportunity cost approach, it focuses on 2 types of factors, the opportunity and the avoidable cost, or the cost savings. So in here, we will be solving situation using the shutdown point of view. So kung una-unaon, kung ang calculation sa disadvantage, net disadvantage will be on the perspective of shutdown, or meaning to say we will be calculating the net income or net loss in the shutdown point of view or setup. So the computation for the shutdown point is a type of workback. So problem solving wherein we are assuming that the avoidable fixed cost and incremental cost of shutting down will remain the same regardless of the number of units to be sold. So here is the formula for shutdown. Let X, okay, algebra. So yun lang ni noon. So let x be equal to the number of units to shutdown point. So this is the number of units identified where the business needs to shut down, or else it will incur losses, further losses or more losses in the future. So the formula is negative selling price times x, which is the number of units, plus variable cost x, which is the number of units, plus fixed cost minus incremental cost plus cost savings is equal to 0. So wherein VC is the variable cost per unit and FC is the fixed cost per unit. So let's go with a solution for this. Okay, so go back to sa ato ang decision checklist. If lost revenue because of the shutdown is smaller than the cost savings, then go with the shutdown. Okay, mas dako man ang cost savings nimo. And then, however, if the loss of revenue because of the shutdown is greater than the cost savings, gamay ra ang cost savings nimo. If mo shutdown comes, dako pa ang imong nalugi, then remain operation. So step 1, determine if the loss of revenue is greater or lesser than the cost savings in the shutdown perspective. So we have lost revenue of shutdown in 3 months. So 20 pesos man ang pesos per sale or per unit product ang selling price. So we identified nga within 3 months limited operation ra or limited units lang sold out sa market, which is 4,000 per month. We know nga 3 months time mao ni siya galisod sila within 3 months time. So we multiply the 4,000 units times 3 months time. That's the limited time wherein they have to decide whether to shut down during those times. And then times 20 pesos, which is the selling price. We come up with a 240,000 pesos. This is the loss of revenue if we are going to shut down. So we have to compare it in the avoidable cost of shutting down. Cost savings if shut down. So direct material is 4.4 plus direct labor per unit 5.6 plus variable manufacturing head plus na nato ang variable selling and administrative which is 4 pesos na 2.4 plus 1.4 na variable is 4 pesos, and then the fixed manufacturing overhead ang times na to 40 pesos times 60% at shutdown point. So nganong times man ni nato siya sa 40 pesos. So mo ni siya iyahang factory overhead. Dayon 60% at shutdown man laman. So nahimo na siyang 2.4. So this is 4 pesos times 60%. So this is not 40. So we go with, if we will be summing this up, we will arrive at the cost savings if shutdown per unit, which is 16 pesos and 40 centavos. So i-compare ni mong sales nimo per unit o kaning incremental cost savings nimo if shutdown, which is 16,400, we arrive okay. Dili dilipad nato i-compute ato siyang i-compute sa number of units. If this is the cost savings nato per unit, then we wanted to compute the entire cost savings by multiplying it by 4,000 units times 3 months, which will be equivalent to 12,000 units times 16.4 na identified nato ng cost savings will be 196,800 pesos. So kung i-deduct na to si cost savings ni loss of revenue, will arrive at okay, wala pa nila gi-deduct. So wala pa gi-deduct, we add the additional incremental cost if shut down nato siya at negative 10,000. So naano siya sa situation By the way, I'm the one who solved this one, and then I check also for the answers sa book, perhaps. So we have additional incremental cost if shutdown is negative 10,000. So add ang cost savings in fixed selling and administrative of 10,000. So kaning additional incremental cost of 10,000, nani siya sa situation, i-identify niya siya nga kung shutdown na siya incremental cost of 10,000. Kaning cost savings refers to katong fixed cost na 80,000 per annum. Kung i-divide na siya o 3 months, every 3 months ay 20,000 pesos dapat. Pero gibutang nito discounted siya at 10,000. So cost savings is 10,000. So therefore, we add this up. Ang loss of revenue nato kung shutdown ta is 240,000 pesos. Then negative na siya, we add up the cost savings. Wadili na to magasto, 196,800. Then we add the incremental cost, less than incremental cost of 10,000, and add the advantage or the discount cost savings of 10,000. We arrive at negative 43,200 pesos, which is a negative number. That means to say, mas dako si, obvious naman diri sa, mas dako si loss of revenue kaysa sa ni incremental cost or avoidable cost. So mas negative noon ang resulta if ever we go to the shutdown operation. So here, in calculating for the shutdown point, so we operate, kung may ngutang shutdown point, mo ni siya quantity nga, kung ingunaan ni kadaghanan na lang ang mahalin sa market or ang production level, so dinha na mo decide si Brunei nga mo shutdown, because this operating in this level will be a very disadvantageous to the company. So at the present moment, they operate at 4,000 units per month. So let's compute for the shutdown point. So let X be the number of units to shutdown point, and the formula for that is negative selling price times the number of units plus variable cost times the number of units plus fixed cost minus incremental cost plus cost savings equals 0. So the shutdown point calculation is negative 20 pesos per unit siya, times X. We don't know yet the shutdown point or the number of units for the business to shut down, plus 16 pesos and 40 centavos for variable cost times the number of units, and then we have plus the fixed cost, which is 80,000 pesos minus the incremental cost of 10,000 pesos plus the cost savings, which is 10,000 pesos. We have an answer of negative 3 pesos and 60 centavos times number of units, which is the X, is equal to, i-transpose na to ang answer, negative 80 pesos. Atong i-divide ang 3.62, calculate for X. So X therefore, kung ato ni siyang i-divide, X therefore goes with 1,852 units. That's the shutdown point. So kung maabot na gani ana kagamay per month perhaps ang production rate sa Brunei, then that's the shutdown point. That this point the company needs to shut down, because this will be very disadvantageous if it remains operation at this level of manufacturing level of units. So once again, the same ra Japon inyong buhaton. So kani siya nga item, we have the case of Palawan Company makes two products, Huhu and Puhu, in a joint process. At the split of point, 50,000 units of Huhu and 60,000 units of Puhu are available each month. Monthly joint production cost of 200,000 pesos. Product Puhu can be sold at a split of point of 5 pesos and 60 centavos per unit, or 8 pesos and 30 centavos per unit if who will be further processed costing 2 pesos and 50 per unit. Product puho either can be sold at a split off point or kanini siyang still work in process for 4 pesos and 75 centavos per unit, or it can be processed further and sold for 7 pesos and 20 centavos per unit. If puhu is processed further, the additional processing cost is 3 pesos and 10 centavos per unit will be incurred. So ang requirement din here is which of the two products, puhu or huhu, should be processed further, and what is the net advantage of doing so. So ang ato ang decision rule ani, remember that if incremental revenue for selling it now is greater than incremental cost, then we come up with the decision to sell. And if the incremental revenue processing further is greater than incremental cost of processing further, therefore process further. So how do we solve this situation? Okay, nag-ending naman noon. Sorry for that. Hindi man siya mo go with the solution set. Sorry. Okay, let's me try. Just a moment. Wait just a moment. Okay, sige, so sorry for that. So we come up with the last situation. The first step for the last situation, which is sell or process further, first is to determine the incremental revenue by comparing sales value at split off or kanang wala pa siya nahuman versus sales value of process further or nahuman siya as final stage. So the second step is to determine the net advantage or disadvantage by comparing incremental revenue versus incremental cost of processing further. So kung naba siya advantage or if process further, or naba siya disadvantage to process further. So here are the given. We work with what's given in the situation. We have puhu and puhu. So number of units is split off, meaning their number of units in process further na state is 50,000 units in puhu and 60,000 units in puhu. The selling price at processed or fully processed is si puhu 8 pesos and 30 centavos, si puhu 7 pesos and 20 centavos. The selling price at split off or in processing, work in process, ni puhu is 5 pesos and 60 centavos and si puhu is 4 pesos and 75 centavos. So obviously mas mahal mas dako ang sales revenue if process further ang both products. So ang diferensya incremental revenue niya if process further at the final stage ni Woohoo is 2 pesos and 70 centavos per unit. Mao na siya incremental niya nga halin if i-process siya at the final stage. Ug si Puhu 2 pesos and 45 centavos per unit ang incremental revenue. So, mo na diferensya sa selling price at split or process further, less or minus selling price at process i-process. So, pag human na to, i-less na to sa cost at process further. So, ang atong decision making is if incremental revenue is greater or smaller than the incremental cost of processing further. So, sa cost of processing further ni Huhu, we have 2 pesos and 50 centavos per unit. Ni Puhu, 3 pesos and 10 centavos per unit. So, we come up with a net advantage or disadvantage per unit if we're going to process further. So, na ay positive 2 centavos si Puhu, o na ay negative 65 centavos si Puhu. So, go back with our question. Our question is asking us if what is the product. Unsay product nga si Puhu ba or si Wuhu ba ang i-produce further. So, on those data and those calculations, I know na dili na po mo maglisod. Dili na po mo maglisod on unsay, I'm sorry, just a moment. Unsay i-process further ato, si Puhu ba or si Wuhu. So, just a moment ha. Kanihang siya. Okay. So, I guess that's the end of it. Okay. So, para na siya sa mga naglisod ba jud kayo or gisayunan ba jud sa ato ang final exam o nanggahulat sila sa deadline, which is the first week of July. So, katong mga nakasubmit na, good for you because you have bonus for submitting on time. And mga early birds point o mga additional because of that that character nga you go with early submission. And I really am saluting for those who can manage their work and be able to have time management on which to do first, next, and next. So that's actually the key for distant learning. You have only to prioritize which are the necessary things to accomplish and be mindful of your task. Okay? So, I hope nga katong wala pa jud ka submit, makasubmit ng tao mo. Okay? Kaya I will be waiting for your submission so that we can go to the next level of which is the enrollment period. Kung maka-advance mo in the next level or you will stay where you are. So it's up to you. Okay, by the way, this is the new normal right now, so we have to make sure that we are adapting and we become comfortable. However difficult it is, we have to find ways because this is necessary skills, especially computer skills. And being a millennial, expectation na nato nakabalo na ta aning mga butanga. So dili ta magpabiya sa prayers and as well as di po ta magpabiya sa information updates sa kada klase, kada requirements nga gihatag sa tagsa-tagsa na to ka klase. So, thank you very much and I wish you the best. I hope that you will pass all the requirements and you will have a good grade for this semester. Bye-bye!